Okay, everyone. So here are some of the strategies that I used while making the answers for this problem or these problems. So the first problem was Mrs. Jones has 125 pencils in her desk. She found 137 pencils in the classroom closet. And the question is, how many pencils does she have in all? So I underlined that word all. I thought it was a keyword that let me know in my mind. I had that mind movie that she's collecting all of them and we were finding that total. So I'm putting these numbers together and making a bigger number. So here's sort of my plan that I have 125 plus 137, and I don't know my answer yet, but I know that that's sort of the plan I'm going to take. So here is how I represented it in the picture form. And I put the numbers 1 and 2 under. I said I wanted to start with my bigger number always because as mathematicians know, that's sort of a more efficient way to always start with that bigger number. So I made my 137 up top and my 125 down below. And then I combined my hundreds, my tens, and my ones. I found I had 200, I had 50, and I had 12. And I knew I would then have to combine that 50 and that 10. I was going to get a 60, so then I had 262. Then here's another strategy I showed on a number line, again, starting at that bigger number. And then I went across and I hopped 100, got me to 237. I hopped my 20, that got me to 257. And then I broke 5 and 2 down, or 5 down into a 3 and a 2 because I wanted to find that landmark number. So I added the 3 first to get to 260, and then I added the 2. Down here, I did number sentences and I broke them down and sort of went across and represented the same way as in my picture representation. So I added my hundreds first, then I added those tens and the ones. And then here you can really see that math that I was doing over here. I did 200 plus the 50, got me to 250, and then breaking apart that 12 into a 10 and a 2 to get me to the 262. The second problem, the art teacher needs some green and some blue pencils for an all-school art project. She needs 258 green pencils and 266 blue pencils. How many pencils does she need? And I noticed here in the problem in the question, it didn't say how many green pencils or how many blue, but how many total pencils. I need to add those green and the blue together. So again, here's my plan. 258 plus 266 equals, and we don't know our answer yet. And I put that 1 under my bigger number, so sort of showing that's where I'm going to be starting. I built out my 266. I built out my 258. I combined, I found that I had 400. When I added my tens, I had 110. When I added my ones, I had 14. So I knew I was going to have to do a lot of kind of regrouping to put these numbers together. So here I did 400 plus that 100 from the tens got me 500. Then I added my tens together. 10 plus 14 is 24. And then I said 500 plus 24 equals 524. And then here's my number line. Starting at that 266, I jumped 200. And then here you can see my 258 right up here. And I started decomposing to 158 into a few different numbers to get my landmark numbers. So I jumped that 200. And then I'm at 466. I was like, that's like pretty challenging to start adding. So I broke my 8 down into doubles, 4 and 4. I jumped a 4 to get me to that landmark number of 470. Then I broke my 50 into a 30 and a 20 because again, I wanted another landmark number. So I jumped 30 to get to 500. And then I jumped that other 20 to get to 520. And then I had a leftover 4 and that got me to 524. So these are just a few different strategies. I want you to be thinking what's the same and different between them. Did you match any of these? And if not, we can always come back and sort of try some of these strategies again in later problems.